Hi, I'm Cheryl Belson, and today I'm going to show you how to make magic circles. Magic circles are simply an insert into another fabric. You can see here I have put a blue fabric behind this white fabric and let it show through this circle I've made. I've also done some applique on top of it in this example, and you can do things like that. First, let's talk about supplies. The supplies you're going to need to make magic circles are, you're going to need one fabric that's going to be, let's say, your main fabric with an accent fabric that you want to show through the holes that you're going to make in the fabric. You're going to need fusible interfacing. I prefer to use a relatively lightweight interfacing so it doesn't change the fabric much. You're going to need something to make the shapes. So you can use something like this. This is a circular attachment that goes on my machine and will make a circle really quickly and really easy. Or you can draw your own shapes to it. But you can see this is a little bit of an oval shape. So you could make an oval shape, or I have used things like spools of threads to make circles at times before. And then you're also going to need a marking tool so that you can mark on your fabric the shape that you're going to stitch. Now, if you're going to use this circular attachment, you don't have to do that because it creates the circle for you in the diameter that you choose. But if you're drawing your own shape, you're going to need to draw that shape on so that you know where to stitch. So now that you know what supplies you need, let me talk about the process. Once you've selected the shape you want to make, you need to take your outer fabric, that's what this is, and you're going to take your fusible interfacing and cut a piece of it that is bigger than the shape you're going to make. And it's difficult to see this, but this is the glue side up. So you have to have the glue side up for this to work. You're just going to lay it right over the space that you're going to place your shape, and just make sure that the amount is covered. There we go. And then you're ready to stitch on here. So this first example I'm going to do with my circular attachment so you can see how it works. So it clips in right here to these little holes at the throat plate. And then this little lever is how big your circle is going to be. The further away it is from the needle, the bigger the circle. I'm going to push it all the way up to the smallest size for this example. Then you take your fabric with the fusible interfacing, glue side up, and just put the center, or put where you want the center of the circle to be. You use this little, I use this little thumbtack. That's actually what came with it. And then I'm going to put that point into this little hole. So I'm going to show you like this so you can see. That's what it's going to do once I have the fabric in it. So you just kind of have to fold back to see where the hole is. I'm going to get that in there and then straighten the fabric out underneath the presser foot. There we go. So just like this. I'm going to lower the presser foot, and I'm literally just going to press go, and this is going to do all the work for me. And I'm right back to the beginning. So let me just pull this out and show you what it looks like. So I have a circle. It's just a smidge off right there, but that's okay. However, you can see right here, I didn't keep it smooth. That's my problem because I didn't keep it smooth. But that's okay. For this example, this is basically how this works. I love this attachment. I've made many circles using this attachment. But not everybody has one of those, so I'm going to show you now how you would do this if you don't have one of these attachments. If you want to make a different shape, or if you don't have a circle attachment, get something that's the shape you would like to create and the size you would like to create. I've decided in this example, I'm going to use one of my pattern weights. It's a square and it'll be easy for me to trace. So I'm going to put that right in the middle there. And I'm going to use this water-soluble pen. And I'm just going to draw this shape. I'm drawing it on the fusible interfacing, which is once again glue side up, so I'll know where to sew. Okay, so there's my shape. You're going to want to pin this so it doesn't shift around on you. I usually just put one on each side and out of the way of the stitching line. And now we're ready to take it back over to the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch right on those lines. So we're back at the sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch on this line all the way around. So now we have the box sewn all the way around. Now let's find out what you do once you have your fusible stitched on. We've sewn this fusible interfacing on. So now we're going to go in and cut out the center of this. You're going to want to cut close to the stitching, but not so close that it'll pull out the fusible. So I'm going to cut it at about, I don't know, 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch. So you can kind of see what I'm doing there. So I'm going to cut all around both this circle and the square, and then I'll show you the next step. Now that the holes are cut out of the center, we're ready to turn this fusible interfacing to the other side. Before we do that though, I want to show you when you're doing a square, it's like anything else. You're going to want to clip that corner into the square so it turns nicely. So just use that same technique that you're used to using. Now, let's start with a circle. We're going to just take this and we're going to just poke it all through to the other side, just like that. So now we're just shoving it through the hole to the other side. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, and now I can kind of pull it tight. All the glue on that fusible interfacing is now facing the wrong side of our outer fabric. You see how that's coming together? Because the glue is there, I'm going to want to pull this so that I get just a peek of the other side, or that stitching line. I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to start to glue it down. I'm going to do that all the way around this circle. Also, I could have trimmed off some of this. I left it big, but I could have trimmed it off, and depending on your project and what you're doing, you may want to do that. But when we flip this over, you see I didn't quite get it done really well right there. So if I haven't waited too late, which I have. So just be aware that you want to be sure and pull that, because that little tiny bit is peeking out right there. That should have been pulled further to the back. Now, let's do the same thing on this side, and then I'll show you how to put the backing on. And there we have a square. Now that we've finished the raw edges of our opening with the fusible interfacing, we're ready to put the accent fabric on the back of it. So you'll want to take your outer fabric, lay it on top of your accent fabric, and I like to put a couple of pins just to keep it from shifting around. And then what we're going to do is do an edge stitch around the opening to attach these two fabrics to one another. So let's do that. We want it to be pretty much an edge stitch, so I'm going to move my needle over just a little bit, not a lot. And obviously you'd be doing this in a matching color. I'm doing it in this red color just so that you can see better in the video. And here we go. And we're finished going around the edge. So now we've completed, in this case, our magic square. And I'd already done the magic circle. So once you've done that, then you'll just want to go back. You'll see I've already trimmed this one, and this one will need to be trimmed also. And you can see I just kind of left just enough. This is going to be on the back side, and so it'll either be covered by lining or something like that. And so you don't have to be too cautious there. And with that, we have completed the process. Now that I've shown you how to actually insert a magic circle, I wanted to show you a few examples where I have used it in my own garments. You could just as easily use it in a quilt or a bag, but these are some garments I've made. Here's one that's in the yoke of this shirt, and you can see the circles. Now in this case, you can't see it as much. Well, now maybe you can. I did an insert of the full size of this yoke. I'm not real happy about how some of the bleed through is, that you can kind of see the shadows. And if I had instead just made these a little patch instead of a full yoke piece, I wouldn't have had that. So consider that whenever you're deciding how to do it. This is another thing that I made. This was a white jacket, and I've inserted these magic circles. This was a fabric that I wasn't fond of, and so I actually used a product called, I think it's called Magic Fuse. You put it on the fabric, you stitch it, you steam it, and it shrinks up to get crinkles, so it got a little dimension. But so I just created this circle design on the back and then on the lapel of this jacket. So that's another way you can do it. One thing I will point out, you'll notice this is a lined jacket, and so it's covering up the back side. The back side of magic circles isn't a super pretty look because you've got all of that fusible interfacing on the back. And so if you don't like that, which I really kind of don't, I'll usually line or just put another piece of fabric to kind of make it a doubled fabric to hide all of this from the inside. Well, I hope this has helped you understand how to do a magic circle or a magic square, as was the case in this example. And if you try it out, I'd love to hear how it goes. Thanks for watching.